Hi, I'm Mike from 3 Brick Friends. This is one of 2 tutorials that I'm going to be publishing based on this mock of the red British telephone box and street scene. I just want to take you through a few of the design principles that are included in the red telephone box. There's some interesting ideas there. So let's take it out of the scene for a start. The first thing you should know about this is it is actually 6 by 5. And now the reason for doing that is for reducing this corner piece. If I was to make it 6 by 6 and put a 1 by 1 brick all the way up there, it would give a real chunky edge to it. So by reducing that, by making it 5 across, you get a thinner edge and it doesn't look too bad. Obviously from the side you have that chunky side, but that's okay I think from that side. But from the front it looks quite thin and like it should be really, thin edged. The door is a piece you buy as a unit. You can buy separately as well, but buy as a unit. So all these are standard pieces, the glass pieces, they come like that. And the top, if you look up on Google or if you live in the UK you'll know this, but the top of a British telephone box has a slopiness to it which is hard to create because it goes all the way around and it goes into a peak in the middle. I've chosen to do that peak flat, but try to keep the slopes around to give the same effect from the side. I think it works quite well. So if we take it apart, I'll show you some of the techniques and show you how to build it. So if we take the base, what I've done to create the 5 by 6 is on top of the plates. I mean, you don't need the plates there if you're going to put it straight on a street scene, but I knew I was going to do this tutorial, so I wanted the plates there. So what I've done is put 2 1 by 2 jumper plates to the front and a 1 by 1 tile, and that creates the 1 by 4 in the centre. Done that again on the back, the same thing. Down the side, these are going to be standard walls, so that's okay. I've just tiled it inside for completeness really, to make it look neat. Okay, so on the front wall, you're going to put the door on those 2 jumper plates like that, and on the sides, straight across there. Okay, but before we do that, let's take you through the back wall. So basically, this is just bricks, and internally, I don't know if you can see that, there's some plates and some modified plates sticking out. So, if you take that off and take the phone off, okay, you'll see it's made up of a 1 by 4, 2 1 by 1s, and then in there there's 2 1 by 2 plates and then a 1 by 2 modified plate with a piece sticking out. And that's purely done to create a top and a bottom. So on the bottom there's the same thing. There's a 1 by 2 modified, then 2 1 by 1 plates to make up the height of a brick. Internally I've just got a clip sticking out with some 1 by 1s underneath to make up the height of a brick, and the brick with a stud on the front, a headlight brick, and that's a 1 by 4 in the middle. So that just builds up the back wall for the right height, and it gives a top and a bottom to the main phone structure. So on that clip you're putting the telephone receiver, and then on this side I've got a modified plate with the handle, and on top of that I've got the little smartphone piece. You can use any type of piece that has a similar phone and number pad, but I chose this one. So that clips on there and that just clips in there, and you line it up. Fits in perfectly. Okay, so that is the back wall, and as I said, that sits on the 2 jumper plates at the back. Okay, so if we put the door back on, like I showed you earlier, and there you've got the front and the back wall. The side walls just fit on the 1 by 4 plates, and that creates the top structure, which now needs to be all tied together to give it structure, because obviously these are loose. Specifically the front door, when opening that it's going to pull that over if it's not tied in properly. So the way I've got around that is to tie the front and the back together with a 1 by 6 tile and a second one, so that ties the front and the back together. Now obviously, because these are out of alignment with the side walls, you can't use plates, you have to use tiles, because you can't have the studs touching the one that goes the other way. So to finish that off, on the back I've just created, I'll take this apart for you, it's a 1 by 1 either side, and that raises it up to the right height. Then there is a 1x4 which goes on there, a 1x2, and then the slope piece which goes on the back. And that is the same structure for the front, just repeated. Okay, and that goes on there, and as you can see that covers the tiles but without touching them necessarily. So you've got that nice bar in the middle that's keeping it nice and sturdy now back to front. So all you've got to do now is tie it in the sides together, which is easier because they're in alignment with each other and you've got this tile piece to go over. So to do that, I've put 1x4 on either side just to raise it up to the right height, to clear the tiles. And then what I've done is I've built 5x4 in red plates, and then on top of that I've put a 1x2 and that end piece. Let's see if I can get it off. Yeah, 1x2 on there and the end piece, and the same on the other side, and then in the middle I've just built it up basically to get the right height. So they're 2x3s, 2x3s, two of them, and then I put the 1x4 tiles on the top, and that just gives it a nice flat top. And that sits on top of the window frames like so. And there you go. So now it's sturdy both ways and they're all secured in nicely. And if you open the door from the front, it doesn't pull the frame off. I think it works nicely. These telephone boxes, just a bit of history, they've been going around since the 1920s in the UK. They're fairly iconic, much like the red post boxes are. But these are still around and people collect them as historic pieces of architecture effectively. So that's how I've built it. What we do now is, as you can see, just another thing that I've done in this build. I've put some jumper plates down so I could take it off and on quite easily. That also allows you to put it back in slightly off position. I think quite often the trick to building with Lego is to try and get that slight position change. So if you look closely at that, I don't know if it's feasible to see, it's not in the middle of the tile. It's, well, a third of the way in effectively, all the way around. And that just makes it slightly less uniform to your scene or your city. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope it was useful. As I said at the beginning, there is another tutorial which will be discussing how I've built this iron bench. It's an alternative to the standard wood benches that you normally see in cities and in Lego sets. So hopefully you'll join me for that video too. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. We try to do as many tutorials as possible because we want to try and help develop your skills in building. Hopefully they're of interest to you. Thanks again. Bye.